Hey everybody, welcome back to the attic. Today I'd like to start what I'd like to have as a series. We're going to call it Comic ER and Rehab, or something like that. I'm going to put a little more into this so folks can see a little more of what we do here, and then get some ideas here as I've gotten from a bunch of different places on the internet myself. But today's patient, supervillain team up number 7. She's tattered. A very good first attempt. So there's creases, wrinkles, and divots all over the place here. So I'm just going to kind of give you the best I can. Hopefully I can get a good idea. You can see what's going on here. Let the glare of the light. You see there's plenty going on there. This bottom corner down here is really wrangled up. See if I can get that to show. There's some spots of something that's been spilled on here on the cover. Let's see, divots. I'm gonna be able to get them there. I think I kind of got them there. Divots right there on that, right by the marble. Pretty beat up. The backside, a little more of the same. It's more of the, that kind of stuff. There is staining. It's going to be hard to see. There is staining in this area, and then all the way through the book. I don't know if this is going to show up well or not. Yeah, I think you can see that there. That's a water line. But that goes right through most of the book. And it's also on the front cover. See if I can get that to show up. Not so much. Oh, kind of there. You can kind of see it. But it goes right through the whole book. The divots go through the whole. So there's a lot, a lot to see here. I will say it's got good centering. Staples are pretty nice on the inside here. Pretty nice shape. The problem with the staples is I wasn't going to take the cover off, but this staple down here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's starting to rust, and I just as soon get that out of there. I have ordered some stuff to do some electrolysis to clean these. But in the meantime, I do have some really destroyed books that I'm going to just take the staples out of and just replace. But be that as it may, we'll do a little bit of dry cleaning here. So basically, one thing I want to do, I need my up-close glasses because I can't see. Well, there it is. So basically, with an eraser, you just want to do the white parts of the cover. And then, this is probably a 1/8, 1/5 as it is now. So anything above that will be amazing. And then you can see it's not too bad. See a little bit of smudge on that eraser there. We're just going to rub that right off. And that's that section. Go across here. A little bit of that. A little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Found some more creases. Some more divots. And I don't do gloves. The best reason I heard not to have gloves is when you're working with a book. If you have the gloves on, you won't feel when the book is being stressed. We definitely want to know if we're pushing something too hard. So I definitely don't want to hurt these books. We want to bring them back to life so they can live on. Hopefully in my collection till I've passed on, moved along, whatever way you want to look at it, and afterward to move to somebody else who gets to enjoy them. But getting these things cleaned up and sturdied and what have you, and trying to get some of this from this. Here's an idea what you're gonna look at. I don't know if you can see that. And get this down here lower, maybe. Here, maybe not. It's not a very good. Well, you can kind of see. Right, that's all on there. We're just gonna take that and just rub that off over here. Ew, get off. Get off. Woo, woo. And then, I mean, as you do this, you'll get a hang for what works, what you're comfortable with, because everybody's got got their own little flair of a version of how they do this. Some of this is already worn off here, so I'm not going to go too crazy with that, but it is already reasonably better than it was. But it's a thing. Let me see here. So that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to spin this guy around, do it from the top. Oh, Doom, you missed. And just running an eraser across these whites really brightens these books up. So if you can do any other cleaning on top of that, consider it a bonus. But most of these books will never be as pristine as they were when they first hit the spinner rack. But if we can just get them to be better, then it's a win. Now, and also with a lot of these books, I'm just getting beat up books that I can get to a mid-range and put them in my collection because I'm happy with that. It's not an investment so much as I like to collect them and I actually like to read them. So the CGC thing is kind of not my thing now, and I do recognize some books, especially for like the high-end books, having them authenticated by itself is a huge ew. See that there? Icky caca. But that's a huge benefit, especially to people who are actually investing, which I know a lot of us think, we worry that investors ruin the hobby, but them bringing money into the hobby is also a good thing. So it's a kind of double-edged sword. But gotta take the good with the bad sometimes. Now this spot here, there's some wrinkling right under the U, so I'm not going to get too crazy with that one. I'm just going to kind of get right over there and call it good. Yeah, this book is, like you see right there, it's getting ready to tear out. It's a lot of fun though doing these. It's very peaceful. There's other things I like to do, but this is going to be a great, hopefully I make it to retirement hobby. Hopefully I make it to retirement and don't have to come back to work after a week. But this will be a nice thing for me to do. I got a pile of books to go through. I probably have 150, 200 books that are similar to this for my collection that I just bought, lower grades that I could clean up and then add to my collection. Especially like some of the more pricey stuff, like you can get you a first appearance of the Vision. I think it's Avengers 58, maybe. If you can get that in the 50, 60, 70 range, looking like this, maybe 100, and then clean it up, I mean, that's a win all day. Because then that saves you money you can use for other books. But I also want to say, something that I thought was funny, I just wanted to share. Yo, Kissinger with Doom, saying ain't so. Sad. So what I try to do here on the backs, I try to find like, trying to think of the right word, landmark, and then start from there. So we're going to start right from here and go down. I'm just gonna kind of give you, well, I'm trying to give you an idea. I don't know if this lighting is good. I'll have to do something different probably, but in the meantime, my bad, I probably should have did some before and after pictures, but I guess it's part of the process I'm gonna have to learn if I'm gonna be sharing. Because that's one of the nicest things is when you see the difference that you can make doing this. I'm one of those weird people that I like to watch dishes because I can see the quality of my work real quick because the dish is either clean or it's still dirty. So I'm one of those I guess weird folks. That's probably why I like doing this. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just trying to do the outlines and stuff. And now here, this has got some, I guess we'll call it pre-tearing. So you want to be very careful here. You can also see there's a lot of soiling in the paper, which when we get the cover off, we do a wet bath. I think that will help a lot. Trying to be very careful here not to make this worse. Just gently going over the top. And there's a stain, so that's not going to come out with the eraser anyway, so I don't have to go too crazy with that. But some of the books that I've picked up to work on, I got 2 different copies of G.I. Joe number 21 from the 1980s Marvel run, and differing conditions. One is in a bit better shape than the other, except, excuse me, I did find a tear on the top center of the cover, which is a bummer. Which is a bummer, but what are you gonna do? The other copy got attacked with a crayon, so I'm interested to see what I can do with that. Because other than the crayon, it looks pretty good. So if we can get that crayon off and get it a clean press, might be able to get that up into the mids, 6 or 7, maybe higher. You always hope, right? But yeah. But yeah, this one, for example, there's a lot of stress around the spine, like right here. That just is not going to come out. The creases might, but for the most part, we're pretty stuck with what we got here. Clean your eraser. I'm a bit of a clod, so I'm wearing shorts. I just wipe it off on there. And the most, what's the word? Civilized people will probably just wipe off the eraser on like painter's tape or something. But I'm not one of them fellas. Mostly because these aren't, I mean, I might do a little more careful work if this was like a high-end book that was super valuable, whatever, but this book is just going in my collection, and I'm happy to add it as it is. Oh yeah, you could really see the staining there. Or can you? I don't know if you can. Let's find out. I can get this up there. I don't know if I did. Yeah, you can really see it there with the light going through the back of it. But I think the wet bath will take care of that. I am going to also probably try to help it. We're trying to do some pre-treating before we put it in a wet bath, because the more we get out of it before we put it in a wet bath, the less the wet bath will have to work. So, I don't even know what I got here. Lordy. But for the most part, that's fine for the dry clean. Now, I've looked at a bunch of different things online for different ideas for cleaning solutions, and I've got a few different ones. But so there's distilled water straight. There's distilled water half mixed with 3% peroxide, so that gives it like a 1.5% peroxide mix. And then peroxide, alcohol, 50-50. What that allows is the alcohol will dry quickly, and the peroxide will give it like a clean, which is, I mean, as far as I understand from what I've been able to gather. So I basically use that to clean up the cover. And then I'm going to put this in a hydration chamber, which is basically just a tote with a bowl of water and 4 sturdy cups to put a tray on. But yeah, I want to see if I can't get at least some of this staining off here. But here we go, folks. This might be where we lose the patient, because this cover is pretty rough. Give it a chance to think about. Oh yeah, there you go. That cover right there. There's a lot of something going on. I think we could save it, but just gotta be careful with it. There's a lot of that gooey was right there. I'm gonna turn this guy around. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but I dig up a little bit. It's hard to see. Sorry to say, you'll have to trust me. But like I say, this is just to give it a hand for when I do take the cover off, which will be after I pull this out of the hydration. I want it to hydrate for like a day. And I think I'm going to get trapped at work late tomorrow, so I will try to get it out of there and get it right. Oh, by the way, these are the cheap cotton swabs of the Dollar Tree. If you're in a pinch and you need some, it's fine. But you definitely want to try to get something a little more sturdy, because these tear apart like nobody's business. There you go. Use for the back side. Yeah, you can kind of see where the cracks in the paper are just soaking up everything that we put down here. A little smudge of something. It feels, yeah, it was a solid, but it came right up after it got wet. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It looks like something that just got maybe burned in. But, well, that's about the gist of that. So this fella is going to go in the hydration box, the hydration chamber. We'll give it a day to soak up that moisture, and then we'll take it out. I'm going to see if I can't do a little bit of, well, I'll probably take the cover off first. But then I'm going to try to do something with some of this staining before we put it in the hydration, because that will make it a little easier, for, less for it to actually take out in the wet bath. So, all right, well, this is so far. I'm not sure if we'll be doing episodical on this, or if we're going to do one big run. Probably episodical. I don't know. Got to kind of feel it out and do it as we go, and see where it takes us. But all right, gang. Well, thanks for coming by. Keep an eye out for part 2.